if you're ever in a situation where you're trying to figure out if you are the a-hole, you can always hit us up on the Miguel and Holly Instagram. Hits 96.1. But this week, producer Kelbin has actually come forward and is trying to figure out if he's the a-hole. What's going on?
So last weekend, I treaded on over to Salisbury. My best friend, Shay, he has a niece named Maggie who currently has CASC. It's a super rare genetic disorder. And so what him and his family often do from time to time is that they raise funds for the therapies that her insurance, they just don't cover. So, and we've talked about it before on the show, I ended up volunteering, helping them unload a lot of the items that were donated from the town of Salisbury and their friends and family so they can sell it in a yard sale-esque kind of situation.
Okay.
So I even helped price some of the things because there were some things that we were unloading from their truck that didn't have any prices. So some things were $1, $2, things like that. It ended up that not only was I in charge of unloading things, I also ended up needing to be one of the volunteers to collect money from people that wanted to buy things. So after a while, after a few hours passed, I was like, man, I'm kind of bored. Maybe I should start shopping. I head on over to the flower pots area and I see this pot, multiple, that say Bassano, made from Italy. And I was like, oh, how cool. They're selling some really cool vintage, really nice stuff. And I see the sticker. I think one of them says $1 and the biggest one didn't say a price either. So I go up to Maggie's mom and I go, hey, how much should I price this? And she's like, oh, price it, whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna buy it. Later on, as I take a photo of it and I Google search, I find out that people are selling this pot for around $40, maybe some for $80.
Oh, $80
Yes.
for a flower pot, by the way.
Yes.
Holy moly.
So, of course, I did kind of feel a little guilty afterwards because I didn't know if this was part of me should sell this and keep the profits, or should I donate it back to the family, or is this finders keepers?
So, because I feel like what makes this a little difficult is because it was for a charity event and not just a random auction or yard sale where you don't know the people that are selling the items.
Right.
So this is the question of where producer Kelvin is trying to figure out if he is the a-hole. Would he be the a-hole if he resold this pot for $80 when he bought it for $1 and keep the money and not give it and donate it back? 1844 hits 961.
One 1-844-448-7961 or text us. Put the word hits with your message and send it to 96893.
Producer Kelvin?
You know what the guilt really hit? When they brought Maggie, the one that they were fundraising all this money for, and she's just there playing with her toys, and I was like, oh no.
And you're like, I'm about to make
money.
$80 off of this thing, off this plant. Holly, would producer Kelvin be the a-hole if he did not resell or donate the money back?
I think you might be.
Oh no.
But only because, I mean, obviously, that's something that anyone would and probably should do when you come across stuff in a yard sale, right? And to think about it, like, a lot of people, like, that is a really popular form of thrifting. So you go to yard sales, you buy stuff on the cheap, and then you're like, oh my gosh, this is actually worth a whole lot of money. It's not like you're going back to the yard sale family and going, did y'all know that you could have made this? Nobody does that.
Right.
But, like, it's for charity.
Yeah.
And you know them.
Yeah.
So, okay, here's the thing. I'm actually going to disagree with Holly. I don't think that you would be the a-hole if you resold this for $80. Because I feel like that's also a part of the risk of doing these sort of things is that, like, you don't know. Like, obviously, because you know them and you do know, there's a little awkwardness there. But, like, that's also part of the risk of having these sort of sales is because you don't know truly if you don't do all the homework to figure out how much these things can go for.
I guess you also have to look at it this way. I mean, you volunteered your time helping put the whole thing on. If you want an out, you did donate your time, and maybe this is just some compensation for spending an entire day helping out this family. I don't even feel right saying that though.
But for more context, all of these things were donated from the town of Salisbury.
Right.
You know.
Right. So they didn't know. They're just trying to help out. So would producer Kelbin be the a-hole if he decided to not give this item back that's worth $80, but they just sold it for $1 for producer Kelbin? Would he be the a-hole if he kept the money and resold it? Call us up 1-844-HITS-961.
1-844-448-7961 or text HITS and your message to 96893.
We'll take your calls now.